What is up, y'all? And welcome back to episode 12 of That Snow Moon Pod. In this episode, I want to give my quick review of episode 4 of The Last of Us. And also, I'd like to give my review of the 2 newest Bad Batch episodes that just dropped. Some of the coolest Bad Batch episodes we've ever gotten, for sure. And I think just in general, some of the best Star Wars animated content that we've ever gotten. And I also wanted to kind of use this episode as kind of like a thought experiment, kind of, to where I kind of go into different subjects, whether it be kind of fourth dimension, fifth dimension, or just kind of certain questions that are always circulating through my mind at certain times throughout life, and for whatever reasons, they're just questions that can't be answered or just can't be explained for some reason within our own reality and our own dimensions. Before I get into all that, for sure, let's talk about episode 4 of The Last of Us. Coming off hot with the Bill and Frank episode from last week. This episode was just another reason why this show just seems to be getting everything right when it comes to the storytelling and the writing, and every actor is killing it so far. I really like seeing the progression of Joel and Ellie becoming closer and closer, and you could tell they're kind of really starting to form a bond and trust one another whenever they need to. Bella Ramsey's killing it as Ellie. I really like what she's bringing to the table. I always kind of had a feeling that she was going to be a big, whether it just be an overall TV actress or in movies, but I remember seeing her in Game of Thrones when she was just a little girl, and how she just had that screen presence for being such a young actress. But in those scenes with her and the Night Watch, and just the way she kind of can command the room with a bunch of intimidating warriors in a show like that, you could just kind of see her potential as an actress, and it's cool that she's getting this shine. And Pedro Pascal is just continuing to kill it as Joel, week in and week out. Like I said, I'm really digging their chemistry. Each scene, the whole episode is just pretty much them two traveling along and bonding together, and it was just cool to see, their growth as just kind of having that friendship bond, and Joel just slowly, realizing what he has to do, and his mission is to protect her at this point. And you're still seeing that fatherly side of him. It's cool. It left us kind of on a little cliffhanger there at the end. So I guess we're getting it episode 5 on Friday this week because of the Super Bowl on Sunday. So it's pretty cool that we get to watch it a few days, well, I guess 2 days earlier than we normally would, especially with that cliffhanger. I can't wait till Friday comes just to see kind of what happens next. And I wanted to transition into the Bad Batch episodes that we got from last night, or today technically. I watched them late last night. I was gonna record this episode um, around 2 in the morning, but for whatever reason, I just wasn't really feeling it, or didn't really have too much to kind of talk about, I guess. And I just couldn't sleep for whatever reason, so I stayed up, and it was about 4 in the morning, and I saw that the Bad Batch episodes just dropped. We got 2 new episodes, 7 and 8, and yeah, these episodes were some of the best Star Wars animated content that I think we've ever gotten. Just story-wise, you could just see the different level of just storytelling compared to a lot of the previous episodes of the Bad Batch. A lot of the episodes of Bad Batch tend to just be kind of, they get a mission, they go on the mission, they run into some trouble, and then they get out, and then they live to see another day. But this one didn't really focus too much on the batch as a whole, but it really explored into the mindset and the psyche of all the clone troopers dealing with, not only Order 66, but they're seeing what the Empire is starting to do and how they're trying to slowly phase them out into the Stormtrooper initiative. And it's cool to kind of see certain clones just taking liberty for themselves and just giving us a different perspective over, they're not just these grunts who go in and go out on a mission. They're still capable of having, thoughts and their own sort of free will, even though it just kind of seems that they're these buckethead soldiers. They still, carry their lives and go out through their days. They're not all manipulated and brainwashed from the Order 66, and they're starting to slowly see the truth and what's actually going on within the Empire and the galaxy. I liked how it was 2 episodes because it kind of, you're able to get the full-on story with Admiral Rampart and his sleazy, plans that he's got going on, trying to silence certain clones and people to make sure he's still at the top and making things escalate further for the Empire. And it was really cool to see Rex pop in and save the day. It's always cool to see those OG clones make an appearance in Star Wars animated. Kind of seeing what they've been up to while they've been in hiding and trying to, keep their eyes peeled for danger, while still not actively being a clone trooper, but still having that, that good sense about them and always wanting to do the right thing. So yeah, I thought it was really cool seeing Rex kind of, just have this mission for the Bad Batch, and he's telling them, we got to get a Coruscant, we got to steal these certain plans from Admiral Rampart, because they're trying to get dirt on him for the Senate, so that way they can kind of see what the truth is behind the scenes, what actually happened on Camino. I thought it was real cool just seeing Bad Batch and Coruscant and how they just kind of, almost without even anything going too wrong for them, they're just so good at what they do. They're just able to infiltrate the Empire in the most dangerous, heated planet and city, probably in the galaxy, and they just in and out, get the mission done, do what needs to be done, and yet still what we see in the final few minutes of the episode, kind of I'd say the most epic part of the series so far was just seeing the council and just everyone, kind of the Senate, just looking like, it was a successful mission for the Bad Batch, and just for the good side, but seeing Emperor Palpatine just rise from the ground in his own cubicle thing, and how he was just kind of planning for this to all go according to plan all along, and he knew what he had to do and what it took to make Admiral Rampart, seem like the evil guy he is, but at the same time manipulating it to where the Empire still benefits from, seeing what clone troopers do whenever they're given certain orders from certain people, and it kind of, put it all in his favor rather than the Bad Batch and the good guys. It was just a cool sort of surprise and twist that we got from the episodes. And I think the show's really starting to heat up now after these past couple episodes. I think we'll still probably get a couple of the episodes where it's just kind of like a regular sort of mission here and there, but I think for the most part, things are going to start kind of ramping up, and we might start getting a bigger story and bigger picture out of the Bad Batch coming soon, leading us into Mando season 3. We're only a few weeks out of that, so I think it's gonna be pretty dope. Pretty fun few weeks that we got coming from Star Wars. And yeah, those are pretty much the only kind of TV show reviews that I kind of wanted to talk about. And from there, like I said at the beginning, I kind of wanted to use this episode as kind of a thought experiment in a way. I just been thinking about certain things in life that kind of tend to happen, and to where it's not just a coincidence, or maybe it's just some kind of reality or dimension that is always there, and it's always going on while we're here in the 3D world living our lives, but yet there's still something out there, and we just don't have the capability to see it for whatever reason. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos over the 4th dimension and the 5th dimension, and just how we just aren't able to see those dimensions in our 3D world, but yet we could still ask the questions and have somewhat proof that they do in fact actually exist. So it's not like it's some kind of wonky idea that someone has, and someone just kind of made up on a whim on YouTube, but there's actual scientific sort of evidence to where, not only is there this world that we're living in right here, right now, the one I'm talking to you in, but there's other things beyond it, and we just don't have the capability to access it yet. I recently watched Interstellar not too long ago, and I remember watching that movie for the first time around the time where it first came out, and I remember really liking it at the time, but I was a little confused on exactly what was going on towards the end. Um, but the movie does a really good job, I think, of uh, forming a story around not just space, but with time and other dimensions, with using black holes and being able to somehow use them as sort of teleportation devices to where you can kind of swing into a whole different galaxy while hardly, affecting your time on the ship, but in reality, it's kind of where you normally would come from. Time works a lot differently and it moves a lot faster while you're out there. Uh, if you haven't seen Interstellar, or if you've seen it before but only seen it once, I highly recommend you kind of watching it again with certain things floating through your mind, because it kind of goes into, especially at the end with Matthew McConaughey's character, he somehow is able to access what seems to be a form of the fourth dimension. I know they call it a tesseract, kind of like uh, like in the Avengers, the blue cube that's in the first Avengers movie. Um, that's what they call it with Matthew McConaughey. What he's in, it's kind of like um, this shape that is always in the fourth dimension, but it's something that we can't necessarily see. But if you were somehow to able to access that and somehow be within the fourth dimension, you could kind of do what he was doing uh, with his daughter and the bookshelves, and he could kind of see certain different times and timelines, whether it's the past, the present, and he's able to kind of give certain messages through the fourth dimension into our third dimension. But since it's not possible, or at least not in reality, for us to see the fourth dimension, his daughter's kind of trying to put together the pieces to why certain things are happening in her room, and trying to form an equation to somehow access where Matthew McConaughey is in the fourth dimension. So it's kind of cool to see a movie take on that challenge of trying to tell a story like that. I think it could be something to do with, I don't know if you believe in ghosts or spirits, but I think in a way that kind of works in a certain dimension to where, like I said, we just can't access it to where they're at, but they're always there. They're always, whenever we're living our regular lives, they're in that dimension at the same time. It's just so hard for us to even access anything else like that. Our brains aren't capable of, fully seeing beyond what, what we see on our regular days. But just because we can't see it or access it doesn't mean it doesn't exist or that it's not out there. Yeah, I think ghosts and spirits kind of are just in that part of the universe that we just can't fully see, and we can only get certain, grasps of their existence, and that's all we can see. We just can't fully access it yet. But I think there's a way that I think humans in the past have possibly found a way to access certain abilities in their minds. And I think long ago there was people that could do certain things like that and just harness a certain, energy within their minds and kind of just not use their eyes to see something, but use their minds as well. Kind of just like, when you have a dream at night while you're asleep, um, it's just hard for me to think that dreams are just figments of our imagination going through our minds. It's, there's more to it. There's more layers to those types of questions, because a dream feels like reality while you're in it, and you don't question it while you're in it. And to you in that dream everything feels like reality, but it's not, right? So what is it that we're able to somehow put ourselves into another sort of reality within our minds, and it feels real and it looks real while we're in it, but when we wake up it's just, it just kind of disappears, and it doesn't tend to have any kind of effect on us. I also like to think of like when we have deja vu, how you just you could be anywhere doing something random, and then something kind of just comes across you to where for a fact that you've seen this before, or you've done this certain thing before, and you remember maybe someone coming up to you and saying something, or just it could be anything that could happen to you at any given moment, but yet for some reason it feels familiar, like you've either been there before or you just happen to see it happen before it actually happened. So it's just things like that, to where just the fact that we're able to even question those types of things and wonder, and possibly even find certain ways to access those things, because it's not like any other creatures on this earth could necessarily do that. Other animals for sure have different heightened senses that we don't, whether it be eyesight or smell or hearing, but even those things are just limited to what we could possibly do if we were somehow to access something else within our minds, to where it's not just sight, smell, and hearing and touch. It could be something way more crazier than we could even imagine, but we still feel like we know that it exists. We just don't know how to get there yet. But yeah, just those type of thoughts always seem to kind of float through my mind, and I feel like it does with a lot of people as well, which is crazy, to even think about that. Certain people just have certain ways of thinking, and I think there's people out there that have abilities to, either kind of just sense the future, or maybe look into the past and can kind of see certain things about people, or there's people out there that can remote view with their mind, and they could see things from distances where they've never even been to, and they could kind of just imagine certain things in certain places, and they could draw it out on a piece of paper, and it looks exactly what is actually there, when they've never even been there in the first place, and they're just kind of sitting there within their minds thinking of it. I know there's been some crazy conspiracies about, mind control, or kind of finding a way to manipulate individuals by using their minds, or somehow planning certain information, whether it be false or true, into someone without even coming into contact with them at all. Um, and it's kind of scary to think of it like that, in a way to where, someone could just kind of Professor X you and just get into your mind or implant certain thoughts without even being anywhere near you. It's a kind of a scary thought, but I think, that's kind of a, I think there's still some kind of truth into that, but, whether or not that's actually going on or not, who knows, right? But, I mean, I just think there's so much to us humans or this universe and our world that uh, the way our lives are constructed, they, for whatever reason, those kind of thoughts and questions just kind of fall into the wayside while we go about our lives every day. But it still doesn't mean that we shouldn't think about certain things like that and question things like that, because I think the more we do, the more we'll slowly start to find our full potential as humans and kind of what our purpose is here on this universe. We're just on this big floating ball in infinity and space, and we just kind of go about our lives without even thinking about it, really. But yeah, I guess I'll kind of end it right there. I didn't want to ramble too long about certain things because I don't know, I kind of wanted to make this a little personal, but not too kooky, I guess. Just certain thoughts that I've been thinking about, and I'm glad to kind of get them all out there. I'm sure there'll be more, and I'll hop on here on the next pod and kind of talk about them and just kind of get everything out. But yeah, this has been episode 12 of That's No Moon Pod. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Instagram at Admire My Moonsalt. I hope y'all have a great week. Y'all stay safe. And I'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.